Video is really about the turning a plain old ugly, and I want a photo so you could see just how ugly this place was, and so how I'm transforming it into actually something cute. So even something that's old and dirty and ugly could be used as cute. My mode of operation seems to always be, okay, what do I have to work with? And I try to work with that to create something out of what I've got. I did buy some new material to build this pen right here, and that was really the expense. Now this was the color, the original color of this tool shed that I've converted into a chicken coop. And I do have another video about that I published maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago. But I've been doing a lot of modifications to it, changing it, and it kind of started with these little guys right here. Well, actually, I have one rooster and 2 little hens in there, and they're just young ones, not of the age of laying yet. And so I built them this little pen, and I really liked the pen. I thought the setup was really cute, and I like the little door that they have going inside that I just pull with a chain. Well, then I said, okay, I need to do the same thing for my other hens. So my older flock got a brand new pen, but before I did it, I decided, let's paint the shed red, the red, white, and blue theme I had going on. And so before I built the pen, I painted the shed red, and then I built a new pen. Got the ladies moved into the new pen. I'm converting this. I decided to just keep with the same building that I have. It's big, it's spacious, I can, house a lot of hens, and it's got electricity in it, so I can have lights when I need it, or I could plug in the heater in the winter time to keep the water from freezing. So, why build another chicken coop when I've got this building? Anyways, I have a storage shed, so I didn't need to turn this back into a tool shed. So here's the front, and what we have is, I just got the white trim. I always paint the trim first before I put on the red. I am going to do a clever paint job on that door, on both sides of the door, because when the doors open, I want to have it appear as though it looks like it's made of wood, and I want to have a sign in the middle of the door that's going to say Fresh Eggs Daily, like an old-fashioned sign. I'm going to paint it to look like a red barn, and it's going to be sort of what you call a trompe l'oeil. It's going to be a fake looking barn door. I mean, it's going to look real because I'm going to add some depth to it with shadows and values and stuff, but it will look like a barn door, and I also want a sign on it. So when I'm finished with it, it's no longer going to look like a tool shed. It will look like a barn, a red barn. The inspiration came from this right here. When I put those bricks down, I went into my tool shed and I looked among my paints, and I found a can of red spray paint. And I said, all right, let's paint the front of the bricks red, because that's the only color I had. Well, it was either that or white. I liked red. And then I decided to put this little fence in front of it, and I said, ooh, that looks like American red and white stripes. And I had this little flag, which I painted the words Made in America. And then I had this other sign. And so I said, aha, I have a theme. Red, white, and blue. Patriotic Americana. Look, a butterfly has come to visit. She's probably attracted by the flowers. I tore down the old pen and I painted this side, and I'm kind of working on turning this tool shed to look like an old red barn. I just wanted to have sort of an Americana look. I want it to be old-fashioned. I want it to be cute. I've got plenty of wire, and so what I did is I took apart the old pen and I used the same lumber, the same wire. I just restructured the whole thing. I decided it would be best to have a rooftop so they have some shade and some cover, because I noticed when it does rain they like to go for cover. But they also have an open area, and as you can see, this is new lumber there, because I needed some very long pieces to stretch across, because that's 12 feet. No, it's actually 10 feet wide pen. So really, that's the only new, that and the chicken wire was the only new thing that was added. Everything else is just recycled materials that I already had. And so they've got a pretty good sized pen, and they'll have another good sized pen on this side, and that will give them plenty of opportunity to choose between the two pens and divide themselves if they choose. I also have a door on that side to let them out when I am ready to let them out. But I'm not going to do that until my garden is fenced in, which my garden is over there, and it's all open right now. One more shot from this angle so you can see my chicken barn. Well, here's the start of it. Right now it looks flat. You can kind of see what I'm going to do so that the front door looks like a barn door. Yes, it's going to be red like the rest of it. I just like to paint the trim first. And I will make it look three-dimensional after I go along. But that's what I accomplished for this day. Tomorrow morning I'll get started on the red. Well, here it is. My new chicken coop. Actually, it's the same old chicken coop that I had before. It's a tool shed that I gave it a paint job and turned it into what looks like an old barn. We kind of started with this little pen here, as I made it as an extra pen for 3 little chicks that I didn't want to put in with a big flock. And I started with a kind of Americana theme, and it just sort of one idea developed into another, and I got this great idea of turning this into a barn. And here's the big ladies, and their pen is over on this side. Now they have 2 pens. It is, how big is it? I forgot. It's 12 feet by 16 feet. And so they've got plenty of space. They're looking for a treat because I've been coming out here and giving them treats. And then here's the pen in the back. I have a little bench here. I often will sit here and just toss them some goodies, and you know, they love it when I give them treats. Sometimes I give them a treat from the garden. It was a very plain, ugly, dirty old I've had to build this place around the trees. You see, I got trees in this corner, and you can see there's a tree right there, and even right next to this pen on this side, there's a tree there, and there's a tree there. Matter of fact, look at this. There's a root coming right there. This pen in the back is about 10.5 feet wide and about 14 feet long, so they can run back and forth between the 2 pens. Matter of fact, what I was thinking was that I might like close up one pen and throw in some grass seed and water it. And that way I could grow some grass in one pen, and they could just hang in the other pen until the grass is grown, and then I could open the door and let them in. So that's kind of what my plan is. So I can kind of rotate them back and forth between the different pens. That way I can grow them some greens. And the reason that I have them all penned up, I mean, I'd love to have them free, but I've had problems with hawks getting them. These cages, they are completely covered. So there's wire on top, and they have one portion of it does have some shelter, which keeps rain from getting inside the coop door. and it gives them shade. And even when we have like a really super rainy day, they will still have a little dry spot where they can stay kind of dry. So I kind of like that idea. They are completely enclosed. I do have a door right here. There's a door for this pen. It's usually where I will throw in a pan of yummies and treats. I had painted the sign, and the sign was so pretty, and I said, oh, it's too pretty, it won't go on my chicken coop because it was so drab looking. And so I decided to paint it red, and as I was painting it red, I came up with this idea of turning it into an old red barn. Now, I'm going to take a close look at this because I want you to see that this is just a clever paint job. This is a completely flat surface. It may look like there's an edge there, and that's just the paint job. I have dark colors on the top, and the sign is flat too. And just to prove, I want to open it up. See, it's a metal door. The other side, it's just a plain metal door. See, that's all it is. It's not a wooden door at all. I am going to put a painting on this side of it as well, because during the day, that door is open, and it sort of doesn't fit that drab, dull color there. So I'm going to paint a painting also on this side of the door to make it look like wood, unpainted wood, so it won't be red, it'll look like wood. And I have another idea for a sign to put on this side, and when I do that, then this project will be complete. It's funny how, creativity works like this. You start with one idea, then another idea, and I painted these signs. Oh yes, and the barn door with some old, beat-up, weather-worn boards that I created. I actually took the wood out of the burn pile that my husband was going to burn them, but I loved their cool texture. It was actually an old chicken ladder. You can see where the bars were across, and the rain just sort of washed it away. So I took that and made some shutters to go with my old red barn, old-fashioned look. Overhaul of my new coop began with these 3 chicks. They were just little when I got them, and one of them turned out to be a rooster. So he changed everything. At first, I just made this small pen just so that the 3 young chicks could grow up until they're full grown. And this is just a small pen just for the 3 of them. They have their own private access inside the coop where they're separated from the big ladies. This is their access door to the large pen. They have a place to roost if they feel like it. They have a roof over this part, and the other part is all open. They have a dirt bath, which they love and use it a lot. And they have a couple of chicken swings. And the second pen that they have access to is a little bigger. And this is 12 by 16. I haven't put any dirt baths in here yet, but I need to. So I have 3 pens. They each have their own door. So each pen is separate. So if I needed to even divide my flock, I could do so inside the coop. Now I want to show you the upgrades I've made inside the coop. See how the part of the pen is uncovered? I love this. It's got the dog hardwire with big holes, so I could throw food in easily in there. And then they have part shelter, which I love having that because it keeps all the junk from the trees falling in, like pine cones, and it stops some of the pine needles, but still other stuff falls in there they can eat. It gives them shelter in the rain, keeps the rain out of the coop because the shelter is over the doorway, and with the shade that it gives them, it keeps them cooler on hot days. Alright, let's go inside the coop. I want to show you a couple of changes that I've made. Here is the private access way for the young chicks with their little door. And it's just big enough for 3 chickens. And this, I figure, will probably be useful in many ways. Like if I need to separate the rooster from the rest of the flock, he can come inside the coop here, but he doesn't have access to the whole area. Now I will eventually, when he gets full grown, I will let him out and let him mingle with the rest of the flock. Now if I decide, once I have a bunch of fertilized eggs and I have a broody hen, what I may do is I don't have a nesting box in here because originally I was thinking it's just going to be for the young chicks until they grow up. Didn't know I had a rooster at the time, but now that I have a rooster, that kind of changes things. So what I will do is I'll probably put a nesting box in there just for one hen, and I'll choose my broody hen and put her in there with all the eggs. She will stay in there and she'll have access outside. She won't be bothered by any of the other ladies, and so I think that'll work good. Where the rooster will have free reign going between the back coop and the side coop. So now if I still need to make a further separation of my coop, I could always build a structure, a wired wall, and divide this section from this section, and I have to make a couple more modifications if I need to divide the flock, but I'll deal with that when I get there. But anyways, before, if you saw my video, I probably put out a year ago, of converting a tool shed into a chicken coop, you'll see, this is the same building. I've just given it an overhaul. Since all my hens roost here, I took down the 2x4s that were up above because I didn't like them anyways, because it just made those areas below really messy. And since we put the door here, I didn't want them roosting up there and then having their poop kind of jam up the workings of the door. Now this door is operated. You can see a hook on the top of the door, and a cord runs up through this pipe and outside. And I'll show you that in a little bit. We just pull it and it opens the door, so we don't even have to come inside the coop to open that door. I really love that. This little door works the same way, just with a pull cord from the outside, so I don't even have to come in. Now up here is where I keep my shavings, straw for the bedding for the nesting beds, and also for just covering up the poop. And you know, my coop actually looks and smells pretty good. And what I love is there are no flies. I have gotten rid of the flies. You know how I did that? Right here. This little trick right here. It's a baggie. Just a little sandwich bag, and it has some pennies in it, and it gives the impression that this place is already inhabited by bugs. And there's something about the water and the eyes of the flies, because they have multifaceted eyes, and I think when they see the water, it multiplies it and makes it look as though there are millions of bugs already inhabited here, and they're not going to fight for the territory, so they stay out. But there was a time when this place was absolutely crawling with flies. And now there are no flies, and I like that. Okay, here are my nesting boxes. Now I have more boxes than needed. You can see we have a little lady sitting in here. She's doing her daily duty. She's going to give me an egg. These two nesting boxes have been pretty much the favorites, but occasionally they'll lay. Okay, there's an egg right there. Oh, she's talking. Did you do it? Did you give me an egg? Now, is this an announcement that you did it? I see a bunch of eggs down there. Does that mean you already did it? She laid her egg and she makes her announcement. She's been sitting there quietly for quite some time. Okay. You said your piece. Anyway, their water stays much cleaner because I put it up on this really high shelf. I don't get so much junk in. And everybody has to come into here to get their food and water, so I only have one place to keep full. You back in here again? She says, I forgot to eat. So she came back in to eat. So, anyways, I like this coop much better than I did at the beginning. Made a lot of changes to it. And these are just storage cabinets where I can keep some of my supplies and extra things. They were just left over from the kitchen when we tore them out, so we put them in here. Okay, let me shake this down. What happens is, we got the pellets, but then it gets to be like a powder down here. I don't know why that feeder does that. Probably going to do something different with the feeding. Seen some other cool ideas on Pinterest that I'm going to try. These guys have their own separate water and feeder in here, so I do have to feed them separately because they are kind of separated from the rest of the group. And it's just kind of my storage area where I just keep things. I'm not using that lamp. That was just when I first put the chickens out here. Keep my gloves, my brush, my little scraper. One thing I like about this shed is that it has electricity. So I can turn on the light in the wintertime. We'll lay more eggs in the wintertime. Otherwise, for the short days, they won't lay as many eggs. But anyways, that's my update for the tool shed that's been converted into a full-fledged chicken coop. And this is what I use to open or close the door. Just let go and the door closes, pull, and the door opens. And I just hook it right there. So that works out very nicely. That PVC pipe that you saw before, it comes out here. And we just have a hook that we just put it on when we want to open the door and let it go when we want the door closed. So I like that arrangement. I like just coming out in the morning and I have to go inside the coop and change my shoes, because I always wear my dirty shoes when I go inside the coop, because I don't want to carry germs into the house. And I have a little bench here so I can just sit and admire my chickens and visit with them and talk with them. Sometimes I'll sit here and I'll toss them some little goodies. When I come out, they usually expect something from me, because I often come out almost every day to throw them some treats, like pulp from the juicer or some leftover things from chopping up vegetables, or some leftover bread from dinner or something. Or sometimes it's stuff from my garden, like strawberries that are overripe. They love them. So everything just kind of evolved. One thing led to another. And that's the way creativity is. You know, you get one little spark of inspiration. You start with one idea, and then you do that, and then you get another idea, and then you just keep going, and it's amazing what it ends up with. And we like to just sit here and watch the chickens, and it's a nice shady spot behind the house. Eventually I'm gonna build a deck back here, and we can enjoy the chickens, because they're just fun to watch and they're fun to throw treats. But yeah, that's my new chicken coop. We turned this ugly old tool shed into an adorable chicken coop.